Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for another episode of Pop Gone Wrong. That's right, it's time for a burn it all down style review of the 5th studio album, Human, by the pop band OneRepublic. This is an album that kept us waiting for a very, very long time, and I don't just mean like 1 or 2 delays. This is an album that they initially announced with a single in May of 2019, even giving us this horrid album cover, but they didn't put it out until 27 months later. And for anyone wondering that's maybe not familiar with album rollout processes,
that's not normal.
Their whole marketing plan after Oh My My was put out singles and EPs. The band themselves confirmed this, but then they contradicted that by announcing an album that they didn't put out for an extremely long time. It's like waiting for 27 months wasn't bad enough, but then the final product that they hand off is 35 minutes of commercial core, just something that sounds like the background of a CVS receipt, and then you get slapped in the face with a bag of cash. Ryan Tedder is the frontman of OneRepublic, and I'm sure you've heard his name before. He's become one of the most prolific pop songwriters of the 21st century, and for a while, maybe back in like the early 2010s, I kind of thought that was cool to see a band like OneRepublic have a member that was kind of breaking out, writing songs with other people. But as the years continued flying by, it became clear that he was a one-trick pony, and the band OneRepublic are now still trying to replicate their successes that they found on an album like Native, which wasn't perfect, but still had really solid and great songs like Counting Stars, and I found myself questioning my own liking of the early OneRepublic material. Like, do I actually like some of these singles, or was it just rose-tinted glasses? And I can confidently say now, having gone back to All the Right Moves, Secrets, Stop and Stare, Apologize, both the original and the remix, I Lived, there's greatness in there. There's a lot of positivity, but also a realness, a charming quality that involved an entire band, and now it just feels like a soulless void of nothing. And for an album called Human, why does this feel so fucking robotic? Having watched Ryan Tedder participate in some of the episodes of the NBC series Songland, where they had people come in, bring a track, see if they wanted to shop it to their band or a different artist, whoever they wanted to give it to, I got more of an insight into his creative process and why it feels so homogenized. It feels like he wants everything to be universal, like it could translate to anything and everything, and that's why this ends up coming off like an album that would be consumed by people who watch The Ellen Show every day. Human is a faceless, nameless waste of time, basically the equivalent of an AI bot taking in all of the information of hit songs from the past 20 to 30 years and then pushing those phrases all into 1 or 2 different types of songs. Every track feels nearly identical, as the songs either take on this grand statement of love that's way over the top, melodramatic, cliched, and cheesy as hell. Either that, or it's trying to be a universal, uplifting anthem. And whereas they actually accomplished that in the past with some of their songs like Good Life, or even a track like I Lived, it does the opposite of motivate now, because again, it feels like it's music made to sell something on TV. Is adcore a genre? Because OneRepublic are absolutely the leading candidate for it. In fact, this album reminds me a lot of the recent Maroon 5 material, and if you know anything about me, that's not a compliment. It reminds me of the Adam Levine experience, because while this band OneRepublic have 6 members apparently playing on the album, I don't know if they're doing much other than cashing in their paychecks, but they also haven't had a lineup change since '07, so I guess something's going right. Every single member is underutilized. Just look at this clip of them performing live and tell me that they actually need 6 people plus standing on stage.
Run, 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 run.
Ryan Tedder has unfortunately become the face of bland commercialism, something in pop that I just don't see as a good thing at all. Pop is not a dirty word, of course not. I love catchy music that maybe makes you feel good or takes on something darker, whatever the twist might be, but Ryan Tedder doesn't have any spins left to give. I mean, it's like riding the teacup ride at Disneyland, except it just sits there, not moving. You can make the argument, John, it's not that bad. Like, the songs, maybe they're generic, maybe they're formulaic, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. I would say wrong. I would actually debate that into the ground, because I think forgettable is sometimes even less excusable than an outright horrid song that we could at least laugh at? Take a look at some of the singles from this album, for example. Run, Didn't I, Rescue Me? Tell me those songs don't sound nearly identical. They just repeat words, they build up to the exact same place, and not only do they clone themselves, they clone everybody else in pop. They have the exact same tempo, the exact same time changes. It reminds me of nearly a dozen plus songs just off the top of my head. The rest of Human falls prey to the exact same problem, and that's the fact that you could swap out OneRepublic with literally any other generic pop artist ever, and the results would be exactly the same. Abysmal, whitewashed, and boring as fuck. This album feels like a playlist handcrafted by your church's youth pastor, and he hands it off to you like, oh, there's no reason to be sad, there's joy out there, life is worth the living, and you smile politely, but you take it, walk out of the room, and start looking for the nearest garbage can. I've listened to this album 3 times, and I still can't distinguish most of the songs from each other. I mean, I listened to Take It Out on Me, and I hear somebody saying, okay, you can take your bad day and put it on me. I'm strong enough, I can reciprocate those feelings. But then I look to Take Care of You and say, wait, was it actually that song? Or wait, was it Savior? Because that repeats the same thing too. What are we doing? We're lost! Better Days saw OneRepublic almost immediately capitalizing on the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that people were feeling very scared. This was March of 2020, so what do? They put out a quick 2-minute song and also just so conveniently happen to have it in the background of a fucking Jeep commercial. Do you think that this is gonna make me want to buy a Jeep? Okay, fine, so it made me buy a Jeep. Everything about this album is so soulless. It's like they're trying to scrape off any trace of humanity, any personality that might bleed through, and they cover it up in glossy production, in cliches, and whatever else that Ryan Tedder can fucking come up with. Dull, monotonous atrocities occur at every corner you could possibly glance at, but even still, there's a track that stands out as even more abhorrent than the rest, and that song is Forgot About You, a track that sounds like OneRepublic saying, hey, give me a Meghan Trainor type thought, and then this shit's out.
I forgot about you. I forgot about what you said. I forgot about what you did.
I know I've harped on the repetitive nature of the track list, but this song just crosses every line that you could possibly draw in the sand. I counted, and it says the word forgot 50 times in one singular song. All in all, this is a washed out repetitive nightmare that plays out like a greeting card from the dollar store. It's cheap, it's tacky, it's lame to the nth degree, and it's just so miserably boring that I find it hard to really conjure up anything positive to say. In fact, I think there were better songs on Maroon 5's Geordie, and I can't believe that just came out of my mouth. Human is commercial core. It is absolutely that and nothing really beyond that. There's no personality, there's no real humanity on an album called Human, and I'm giving this album a half star out of 5. That's a wrap on another episode of Pop Gone Wrong. This time we talked about Human, which is the equivalent of a CVS receipt aesthetic. Anyways, any and all thoughts that you had on the record can be left in the comments section down below, even if you don't agree or agree and feel even harsher than I did. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe for the love of music, check out another OneRepublic video here or here for another Pop Gone Wrong, and I'll be back soon for more on ARTV.